What up, everyone? This is Mr. Lord Dr. Professor Dark Joker here with another edition of Traditional Fans with Opinions, where I'll give my reviews for whoever I watched, read, or played today. And who are traditional fans with opinions? That is myself, and that is you, the viewers. With all that being said, on with the reviews. One Piece episodes 1141.5 through 1142. So first episode of this is it's a recap special going over like the times the Straw Hats have dealt with the Giants. So basically in the Little Garden arc, the Enos Lobby arc, Dressrosa, of course now with Egghead with the Giants being involved. Just the anime hasn't gone to Elbaf yet. Not yet. Soon. Soon. And yeah, that was a good, special. Go over the Giants, And then, next episode was like, so you have fighting Luffy and Sanji fighting Saturn and Kizaru. So the Giants arrive to help, and they come across, Atlas, Bonnie, Kuma, who's basically passed out, and Frankie. So like, yeah. So this is a so basically the Giants are there to help. Of course, the Luffy's basically there's a point where Sanji's trying to help Vegapunk escape, and Luffy like grabs like Saturn and Kizaru and like basically like fights him one by like basically by himself. And then Kizaru like you can tell he's not happy about having to attack Vegapunk. And he shoots like a laser like through Vegapunk's chest. There's like a big hole in his chest, and like his heart stops, and that leads to the message starting. Basically, it's like as soon as he dies, like basically there's like a mess, like or about to die, where a message, like his heart stops, a message is starting to show like that Vegapunk rig to like play to everyone in the world. And so next few weeks, this is gonna be a big thing with the message. With how many chapters that took in the manga for that message to be finished, that's gonna be a long one. I'm sure there's gonna be a lot of discussion about how they're like milking the message, which they are, because the manga is not finished yet. Once the manga finishes, gets really close to finishing, there ain't gonna be as much filler. I don't think, because I don't unless there's like a really big sequel that appears right after starts right after. Which I don't think Oda's doing that. Then but so yeah, overall I like these episodes. I thought they were good. Liked what we got. Getting more about the Giants. Then yeah, now we have well, it looks like net. Then obviously game more with the fight between Luffy versus Saturn, and looks like next week the other elders are coming. It from based on the preview, it looks like the elders are coming, and I am hyped for that. That crap's gonna be lit. So yeah, I really like these episodes. Looking forward to the next one. One Piece chapters 1158 through 1159. So in these chapters, Roger, goes to Hachinoshi for a little bit to go to Shaki's bar. He doesn't wait line, he just goes through. But he does follow the rule of no fighting in the bar. Now when it happens, so Garline, who in the present time is replaces Saturn as one of the five elders, um, he mentions that he talks to the five elders at that time, says that he found something at God Valley, recommends it for the next competition in 2 years. And so we see, Shaki's bar and all that. We see like basically of course, pirate one of the rules of Shaki was that no one could fight. Now so even rival pirates, they would just drink together inside the bar. Now outside on sea, they'd be willing to fight each other and go to war and stuff. Now we see Harald and Rock's fighting because basically because the ultimatum if the Elbaf is to join the world government, Harald has to kill Rocks, and Harald tells Rocks that he basically that they don't want to fight each other. They don't, but it's to like help. Harald wants to help Elbaf. Basically Rocks like calls him a coward and all that, saying he's basically bending the knee to celestial dragons and all that. But Harald's like he has to search for his people, but that's how their friendship kind of ends. And they don't meet each other again till years later, till like a few years later, during right around when God Valley incident starts. So like now it's real at God Valley. We see this red-headed woman. We don't see her face. We see like her and her twin sons, Shanks and Shamrock, basically. And then so basically so that woman whose name's not given is Shanks's mother. And so, Garland, of course, during his time there, you know, basically he slept with that woman, had a kid. And then basically, Garland, this is his first time he's met his kids next chapter, and he basically wants to take the kids to, marry Joa because, the island won't exist. Mother's like, what? And he tells the woman that he has a wife ready for her, like for him, as long as if he wins the competition, he will make basically he wants Shaki to be his wife because he basically Shaki was kidnapped by Wayne Z, who killed Don Marlin and basically betrayed Rocks for gave Shaki to the world government. Basically, Shaki's like the top prize, and so Garland kills like the mother of Shanks and Shamrock, and then so we see World Nate Marines land on God Valley, gather up locals to use as basically targets for the competition. Dragon's a soldier there. He's like, "What the heck are we doing? This ain't right." Basically, he's like, "This ain't right." But he's like, he's a rookie. And basically, his superior officers like, "Hey, followers." And basically, they're all using trank rounds because basically, Celestial Dragons are the ones doing the killing. And you see Ginny, Ivankov, Huma on the ship. The slave ship. Morgan's is there leaking info to Hachinoshi because basically he has like a really good intel network. And so all the Rocks pirates they head towards Hachinosu to save Shaki, and the Roger pirates go there too to save Shaki. Now, Rocks pirates come across the giant pirates, so Herald's ship, and yeah, so and of course, with Roger getting involved, we know Garp gets involved at God Valley. So Rocks and Herald have a conversation. They drink some sake, basically have a conversation before they fight, have a one-on-one fight. Rocks reveals that his real name is David D. Zebek. Davy D. Zebek. It's not wrong. Basically, his clan is a clan that the world government wants to get rid of. It basically says he's descendant of the pirate Davy D. Jones. And then he mentions that basically when he had a wife and kid and wife and son, he wanted to make sure that they were safe, so he sent them to his homeland in God Valley. And basically, he says none of his crew knows. Like Herald's like the only person he told. And basically, he said, as far as Rocks knows, basically the Celestial Dragons doing their competition in God Valley was just a miscalculation. Basically, he thinks it was a coincidence. But he says there's some basically that there's something pulling the strings behind the scenes. Now we know Rox knows about Emu, or at least came across Emu, and then basically, but he doesn't tell her. I don't think anyone else knows. Now he says no, Rox only cares about his wife and kids. As long as he helps his wife and kids escape, he doesn't care about the rest. And then he asks Herald for aid, but Herald says he can't help. So they have a fight, but then like basically Herald kind of like lets him go. Then the big, once all the slaves were gathered, the competition starts. So Somers is there, wants to make Shaki his slave. Of course, Garland wants to make Shaki his wife. Gunku's there along with some other holy knight. And then, Dragon comes across Sanction Shamrock's mother asked to who asked him to get her children off the island. Basically, she doesn't want Garland to get them. We see Teach, Blackbeard as a kid there amongst the slaves. So basically, there's like a big fight about that, and also just learn that the Davy clan is there, and I guess they know the Davy clan. So this could be this is it looks like we're getting God Valley. This is the God Valley flashback we are getting, and it's gonna be insane. So yeah, I really like these chapters. This this is gonna be a great next few weeks with One Piece with the God Valley. If we actually get the entire God Valley flashback, it is going to be insane. Like the only thing that would be more insane is if we end up getting Void Century flashbacks now. But yeah, so I really like these chapters. Looking forward to the next one. News Exorcist chapters 112 and 113. So these ones, Gakuro's continuing his fight against Suzaku. Issue tries to help. Suzaku wants to like just kill everyone to like so let no one interfere with Gakuro and Ishu's relationship as she sees it. And so like basically, it's like Suzaku just wants to kill her. She just wants to kill all mankind. And so Gakuro like is able to gain some power and able to like Issue then appears to help and try like and so basically turn I guess New gives Issue the ring because I guess she's the most suitable girl, or whatever. Then Gakuro promises to protect Issue, and then you have like basically like they're both at Suzaku and Gakuro like peak level, so they fight. Suzaku then tries to kill Gakuro, doing like some final fight where so you see like their big clash, and basically yeah, so now we see like Issue giving saying something to Suzaku, saying like, hey, basically how she knows that Suzaku's feeling sad, all that. Yeah, basically what she that basically she wants Suzaku to stop. So we then see Gakuro do like a big attack, and that is it. So I'm fine with these chapters. I like the visuals for the fight are great. I'm interested in what the rest of this fight will go. So we like these chapters. Looking forward to the next one. Elusive Samurai chapters 216 through 217. So in this one, so Tokiyuki and Nita you know, they take back Kamakura to to basically like and it kind of like they take it back, so basically it pisses off Takaji, and then and so everyone's wondering what the everyone's preparing for the final fight against Takaji, and so basically this is possibly the last time Elusive Warriors go to battle. And basically, since everyone knows they're leaving Tamakura to fight for Battle, march for Battle. Now, Nita and Buru are going to defend the city, but the Hojos are going to fight Takaji. It's part of the main art. And basically, so apparently, one that happens is that Suzuku claims that the reason none of Tokiyuki's wives have been able to have children is because they weren't in the Hojo homeland. But now that they're in Kamakura, which is the Hojo homeland, they may have divine favor. So basically, what we know is that. So basically, it looks like he has sex with all his. Tokiyuki has sex with all his wives that night. And it's not confirmed whether or not they're pregnant, but it's likely that they are pregnant now. They're going to fight while very newly pregnant. And then we see the beginning of the battle. You know, basically, Usagi said is something about Usagi talking about he wants to make a perfect warrior using different clans. It likely seems to lead to Usagi Kenshin, who is a famous warrior from history. And we see the big fight. Battle. The Tokiyuki's forces are fighting like Takaji's, like trying to fight the main arc. We see like all these old soldiers like work together to fight them. And yeah, so it's just battle after battle. So a lot of the old allies who have gotten older are there to help. So this is a big fight. See, the battle looks like we're getting towards the end. See, I really like these chapters. I'm interested in what the rest of the battles go for this series. I'm looking forward to the next chapter. Kagurabachi Chapters 92 through 92.1. So in these chapters, first you have the main chapter. You have like basically have continuing the fight between the Kaminabi and the Hisaku. So Kiri and Hakuri they go to Sanuchi, and then basically we see Uruha. You know, we see basically a lot of the sword masters fighting. Their fighters fighting like the Hisaku. So we see Hokuto basically wanting to challenge Ruha, revealing and he reveals he's the one who killed Kunishige Rokuhira, and Yura is one of the other Hishaku there. So Misaka and Uruha are fighting those two, and we see like some really good visuals in that fight. Like those are some really good visuals. Like them trying like fight. You have four like basically master swordsmen trying to fight. Like it's actually pretty cool. So like Natsuki Misaka is like basically trying to like prove himself during this fight. And then we see during the other one, it's basically a side story of basically Genichi Sojo trying to go to like a bathhouse. And he takes the Cloud Gouger with him. He goes to, like some store trying to like go basically wants to have some like special type of milk, like fruit milk he cares about. He doesn't like when other people try to get the milk that he wants. Yeah, and I mean, look, I've never been to a bathhouse or a hospital. I don't understand the whole deal with that or the milk that I guess you get there. I don't understand. So like, there's this kid that like randomly jumps around, mess around while butt naked, and he gets the fruit that Junichi wants, and basically the reaction is actually pretty funny. So like, so yeah, Sojo's kind of a little pissed off that the kid got the milk he wanted. And so yeah, Sojo then just leaves with the Cloud Gouger. And so, yeah, I thought it was, it was fine. I don't understand why they needed the side chapter. But I like, the main. It was fine, but I don't like the actual fighting one, the main series. Yeah, that was freaking awesome. So I really like these chapters. Looking forward to the next one. Ultimate Exorcist Kiyoshi, chapter 58 through 59. So in these ones, you have Kiyoshi doing a sports festival, and then basically, so Kiyoshi's thanked by Oka for saving everyone, even though they deny it. She knows that he did that he did something. And then yeah, so after the sports festival and all that, there's a whole issue of, so Kiyoshi's like, his like powers have kind of declined, and like his preset powers kind of has not returned since his defeat of the Great Demon Lord. So like he's sent to the Hitsugi Hospital to like I guess help regain his powers. What meanwhile, so Kurogain retires as the as a cross balance. She recommends Kiyoshi to be the next cross paladin, but then some of the other ones disagree. Usujiri does agree, so there's like there's like just issues of like, okay, who's gonna replace her as the next cross paladin. It was like, and so Tsurugi like agrees with Kurogain that Kiyoshi should become the next cross paladin, but everyone else does not. And so basically then you know so this guy Utsugi, like, I guess he wants to be it. He doesn't want Kiyoshi to be the next cross paladin. He kind of wonders who's stronger between him and Kiyoshi. They actually, Kiyoshi arrive at the hospital, and basically since there's so many like beds because of the last what happened previously, there's on the so basically he has to stay at the Hitsugi house to recover. And that's like, what there was, I guess, what's next in this. So Kiyoshi is excited because he's never basically stayed at a friend's house before, so he's kind of excited for it. So that bit's funny. So yeah, I really like these chapters. Looking forward to the next one. Ichi the Witch chapters 48 through 49. So in these chapters, you see like all these like witches like arriving, basically due to like Ichi being revealed as the first male witch. Some people are there curiosity, some people are just out obligation, whatever. Some people didn't really care to show up. Yeah. And then yeah, so basically yeah, we see the prophecy witch, trying to like talk about she mentioned Ichi's fate, to fight the world hater. And then yeah, so then she has like some dark premonition, I guess, about her death. And she comes across this so Chiki Shiro comes across this like waiter or whatever. It's really be a messenger from the world hater magic. He calls himself Hitsugi, who like basically him to wants like basically wants you the that Jiki Shiron to leave the Witch Matno organization, join the World Hater, basically, or else she'll die. And basically, World Hater does not want any more prophecies about that go against World Hater, because that could cause problems. And so now the message is directed to the prophecy magic, whereas Jiki Shiron, the witch host, is inside the magic circle, and so the prophecy magic is not happy with that. Does not want Jiki to be targeted. So yeah, so basically it seems that the messenger believes the Matno Association is a giant prison to steal Magic's room, but then the mess is confronted by Descaras, who attacks him, knowing who he is. And so yeah, that leads to the next. So looks like yeah, we'll probably get some information about like this messenger, more about who he is. Probably Descartes just totally wrecking him, or the guy may just give us some powers and defeat Descartes. Interesting to see, but yeah, I really like these chapters. Interesting to see what they're set up with the prophecy magic. Looking forward to the next one. Nice Prison chapters 18 and 19 and full series. So in these chapters, we see Mitsuboshi fight, the super death row prisoner, and and then basically do that fight. If he kind of like does something to serve a full out sense super speed to gain more power, then he like when he loses all that power because he finishes sense, he shares some of it with Kasan, and he's able to get enough power to defeat, you know, super death row prisoner. And super death row, really he was already dead, but I guess he couldn't, his soul couldn't move on, so he tried to make the nice prison. Then like he's kind of basically he has some followers of Mitsuboshi who, and he wonders if he can be reformed in hell. If hell is in that in that franchise is like hell is in real life, Vincent doesn't mean jack squat in hell. You're in hell. And so yeah, so the magic Nike thing that Terra has doesn't end up working redeeming him. Doesn't reform. It's just some words from Mitsuboshi. Basically the talk no jutsu, like the Naruto joke, the talk no jutsu. That's kind of how like Super Death Row prisoners kind of reformed. And turns out the guy didn't know that Terra's dad was killed. He knew that he didn't know that he knew that I guess he attacked her, but he didn't know he was dead. And basically Super Duck was executed, but he somehow was able to. So yeah, there's a once the Knight's prison like is built, that's when he believes he can move on. But then like we see their final fight, Super Duck was beaten, he then dies, and then we see Mitsuboshi, I guess, take charge of the prison, and he basically builds a music park within the prison. By the time we get 2 years later, yeah. So yeah, and that's it. So yeah, I like these two chapters. Interesting way to end it. So yeah, and I overall like it. I mean, it's not meant to be taken very seriously. It's a comedy manga. I like these chapters. I like this series. So yeah, interesting. What else Suishia does now that this series is done? Oh, there were the Flame chapters 16 and 17. So in this one, so the Ice Kingdom is attacking. They're targeting the Wind Spirit. So Sir Wickedhorn is sent after. So Dodoa the Wickedhorn is sent after the Wind Spirit, and then basically then we go to Oder, who like Edupurko claimed is like that Oder was her destined partner, and then Huggins just going along with it. or is like what he doesn't understand what's going on. He's like, yeah, so yeah, yeah. And then what's funny is that what's funny is that basically so Q-Teen, like he just goes along with it. Then once he realizes, and he's like, it's like, oh yeah, if you're like that, if you really go that far, lie, yeah, got no hope. And basically, he was just kind of, I guess he was kind of not really serious about it anyway. Basically, so it's just funny. So Q-Teen's definitely has an interesting personality. I think he'll be a great character. And so the whole he guides them all, everyone to Odor's group to the where the wind spirit lot is at, because only the Order family is able to get there as a descendant of the Wind Warrior who helped defeat the evil king years ago. And so basically, Q-Teen agrees to like go there, and basically, so yeah, so basically, how Q-Teen is that he knows that Huggin owes him a favor. And then and shown that I guess QT and Oder both like the old like stories and sagas and stuff. So they kind of talk about then they come across the enemies. So Dodoa starts his attack, and then basically so Oder tries to use his new sword, basically power from like the Iron Spirit and Syndra that they made using his flame power. And so he then like does some attack. And it's really a hug. So Dodo is able to use like invisibility, where and Huggin, who knows forbidden spells like that, is able to figure it out a little bit, figure out how to deal with it easily. He's kind of bored, like he he would at least have a challenge. And shown to reveal that the winners, I guess the Ice King is the power of the winter spirit, as Philgia senses the power of the winter spirit. And so yeah, so basically, so Todoa has like memory, has like guillotine the orders memories for some reason. And then basically, yeah, so he's gonna use his memories as like some basically trump card to help win the fight. And just seeing what they're doing with that and then see how the fight goes. So that's when the sword power then activates, which is made from Viking Mail. See, I really like this attack. Or like the Red Hot Iron Flash as it's called. I like these chapters. I like what they're saying. Just seeing what else happens with this like specific arc. Looking forward to the next chapter. Harukaze Mound chapters 11 through 12. So in these chapters we see Aokaze's game, pitching. He does very well. Um and he gets fired up after hearing about Nagiharu's game. So basically, he like so we see him going against this batter named Ikazuchi, and like he was like one of the big batters, and he strikes him out. Then we see the game, and like he's able to like basically strike out the do very well against the opponents. And then we see obviously a lot of all the schools are like starting out their game, their seasons. The golden generation is like starting to do very well. And then basically, so what's known as that? So Hina High needs to improve the hitting if to play, and basically what you know Ichi wants is to like get you know one of the team members, Kingo Yagami, to make a comeback. Basically, because his former team is like Hina's next opponent. So basically, Nagaharu kind of like hangs around Kingo, trying to like I guess fire him up, learn more about how he plays. So and while he's developing his own new pitch, and then so we see the whole bit. So Iroha, whatever, tries to, and we see all the team members hanging around, trying to figure out what's going on. And it's funny. Roha's kind of bored. He's like, I guess, wondering if he's actually gonna play. So Ibuki is like, huh? And then so Nagaharu like is kind of like hit a brick wall. He doesn't know what to, not literally, but what he's trying to figure out what to do, how to make a new pitch. So he and Kengo like they practice some in order to get better. Then we lead into the next game where basically they're to fight to go against Ryokusen High School, who like was the champion of Chiba. So yeah, so basically we see his one of his former teammates, Sojiro Matsukasa, and basically so Matsukasa at one of his Kingo's there to prove himself. Kingo's like, no, I'm only here to win, and that's how it ends. So I really liked, but there's all the practice stuff, all the baseball. I mean, as a baseball fan, I like this is a series I like. I could see a series being one that goes along for a while, especially with these games taking this many chapters. I mean, heck, in the freaking cover art, we still haven't, to my knowledge, I don't even think we've seen the who the heck this pink-haired chick is. So I don't think that's the manager for Hina. Like the hairstyle's different. Yeah, but I really like these chapters. I like all the baseballness. Looking forward to the next chapter. Ekiden Bros chapters 9 and 10. So in these chapters, Kojiro Bombayashi, is stressing out his like opponent, like in that stage of the race. We see him doing like very good pace at very fast, basically mentally breaking the guy, like the Seitoku guy. And then so after that, after that we see Yuga Narumiya being the next in line for Odani. So we see like he start to run, then his opponent, and we see like like after all he's running. Basically, Seitoku was only behind by a minute and 20 seconds, so the guy Seitoku Runner was able to catch up. We see some of Yuga's backstory. Basically, he was a sick kid. He started running because he liked being fast, and so he was like a short distance guy. Transitioned to like the Ekiden stuff, Koshi and all that, like and Ekiden. So he like is basically able to run at very fast speed for short distances. So he's able to have those big like bursts in speed. He's a top runner, 1500 meter. So yeah, so then once we get to like we see everyone's I guess whale watchers. Right? So Nobu I guess is prepared for his bit, like his stage, and we see this guy Mitsuhide Kazuma. Same last name as Nobu. And then arrive there, I guess, to check in. And it's real that Mitsuhide is Nobu's brother. Basically, he was in Kenya for a while. So basically, it looks like we have two brothers, preparing to race. Race. It looks like. So that should be an interesting dynamic. For race. So yeah, I like these chapters. The racing stuff was cool. Let's focus on the actual sport. We like these chapters. Looking forward to the next one. Ping-Pong Peril chapters 8 and 9. So in these chapters, we see, you know, Tyro go against Suji, and then like basically we see Suji using his like PEDs to help him fight, and then get inspiration from some like statue of like an anime character. So the table gets damaged. Pyra struggles with adjusting, and then like what happens is the damage basically breaks the table on Tyra's side to where basically Suji can't like get good aim. So even when he's up like at match point, it allows Tyra to catch up like a decent amount. Where he's like right now he's only down by 4 by the end of chapter 9. It's 10-6, so match point still. What happens is Tyra uses the anime statue, as like bait to piss off Suji, which is how the table gets destroyed. Then Suji gets mad, destroys the table on his side. So basically, you have like two walls. Like basically you have walls. So like you have a very small surface for to actually aim for. And then yeah, so and Tyra's pissed off about it. So Suji was ready to like beat up Tyra, but apparently explicit violence like that's not allowed. Like that breaks the rules. So yeah, so basically, and what's funny is like so basically, so if Suji's attracted to any girl, as long as it's a girl, he's fine with whoever. Yeah, so if he gets his mojo back from like, so basically everyone like this last bit of fight looks like next chapter I think is when this match will end. And I really like this match style. It's definitely a weird one with the PEDs being involved. Of course, in Ping Pong Peril, of course PEDs are allowed. I'm still surprised Blue Lock has never dealt with PEDs. I am shocked Blue Lock has not dealt with that ever. But yeah, I really like these chapters. Looking forward to the next one. Apocalypse Bringer Mynoghra episodes 9 and 10. So in these episodes, so Otto has Otto's annoyed with Takudo, and the two twins and some of the others, for how like they do stuff and makes them write essays. So they then try to do a Dragon 10, which there's some chaos going with a bunch of monster attacks. So Takudo then summons Insect Queen Isla, and then Otto is sent along with some Dark Elves to help Dragon 10, and Isla helps protect Mynoghra, and basically kind of does Otto's job while she's away. The twins, give Isla a tour, and Emily's basically deal with a lot of stress from a lot of stuff that happened. So Isla like comforts them. She has like a motherly presence that like makes the twins have nightmares of their mother's death, because I guess how she acts reminds them of their mother. So Isla like comforts the twins. So Otto's able to defeat a lot of the monsters, and basically there's these coins from a monster called Giant Hill that appear when it's Takudo recognizes collectibles from a game called Brave Questus, which he played when he was like before in his past life. And so then some other monsters from Brave Questus arrive. So basically, this whole world is a bunch of monsters from different, RPG, different like video games. Seems like. Then Selena meets a witch named Arakino, who's like wrecking havoc, and Arakino's killed, but apparently Arakino's gonna revive a lot. I guess she dies a lot and revives. Then this demon lord sends generals named Flamen and Ice Rock to attack Dragonton, but dark magic hinders Ice Rock's advance. Auto confronts Ice Rock, and you know I Auto kills Ice Rock despite being wounded, and gains like Ice Rock's powers. And it's revealed that Flamen has started attacking Mynoghra. So it looks like next episode will deal with that attack. So I like these episodes. I liked all the stuff. Otto was funny in it. The twins are funny. Isla's a great addition. So I really like these episodes. Looking forward to the next one. Gachiakuta episodes 8 and 9. So in these episodes, Rudo is kind of frustrated over what he believes is a failure to save Gris, but him and Gris and Engine, they cheer Rudo up. And Gris is like, hey, if the Talman's lost, he's glad it was at least useful. And so that's what the clearance determined that the Raiders are interested in researching the sphere. So then the boss of clearance, Arca Corvus, who is a very cool character. He returns to the base, welcomes Rudo as an official member, and then basically Corvus mentions a rumor about old woman near the border between the sphere and the ground who mentioned other people crossing safely. So Rudo wants to find other survivors. Engine recommends train first, due since it's in no man's land. That's a very dangerous area because you have trash beasts and raiders. And then so Zanka helps Rudo learn deal with his ability to basically activate multiple broken objects with his gloves. But Rudo faints, so they learn I guess some of Rudo's limits. And then basically, so Rio recommends that gloves must have a name. And then we see Jabber and Katoni report to the Raiders leader, who has an armor that has the same symbol as Rio's glove, which he calls the Watchman series, which is that is a very important thing. Um, the Watchman series is gonna be very important. There's a lot of weird lore with the Watchman series. It's awesome. Now, then the next episode, you see so Rudo walks back to he sees Rio in his bed for some reason. Basically, she heard him moaning where she randomly decided to come in, I guess, to see if he's okay. Rio was kind of weirded out by it, but he's like okay. So then so Engine leads Rudo and some of the others to this town, the canvas town where they're trying to find this artist giver that's able to do protective spells on people. And so it's revealed that the one who did have that tool, Gob, had died recently. So the successor who had created it basically becomes the next one. And it's so the vital instrument is able to it passes down, and basically it's the one that's last. It gets passed down to a successor, and basically it's definitely an interesting type of you know vital instrument. So it's one that's passed down. I like that. So I liked the new the basically the new the new artist whoever who's going to protect the spells. That's going to so it's a lot of there's creativity involved with that. Whoever has to use that vital instrument, and I liked it. I liked this episode. I like these chapters in the manga, so I really like these episodes. Liked how they adapted it. It is great. And of course, there's some stuff with Rudo's uniform they still have to work on. Like in the, like his mask. Like they're still waiting on the mask to be done. So he doesn't die in no man's land. But yeah, I real and then there's like an interesting where Rio's seems to have some similar baggage with her parents as Rio does. I'm not gonna get into a lot of stuff with Rio. There's some dark stuff with Rio. Basically, Rio has an interesting past. I don't think all of it's been revealed yet in the manga, but there's an interesting past there. But yeah, I really like these episodes. Looking forward to the next one. Uglymug Epicfighter episodes 9 and 10. So in these ones, we see Shigeru's party tries to in the aftermath of all the stuff at the casino and all that. It's decided to form a company and they start trying to do some interviews. And, there's this girl named Lee who interviews. She comes across, very not in a nice way, but it's revealed that basically so it's revealed that the lady who falsely accused Shigeru of assault basically was it's implied that she was murdered by Lee, and that this is before she was reincarnated. So yeah, so looks like that's what happened. And then and Shigeru's like, what the frick? And there's a whole thing of Karina being interested in Lee, and so Karina tries to befriend Seika, or seemingly befriend. We know that yeah, so then Karina disappears. Well, and so whew, so it's definitely interesting stuff we're saying out with Karna, and then yeah, Shigeru trying to deal with that, and like yeah, so I like these episodes. Interesting how they're saying with this company. So obviously they're trying to make everyone's trying to make money while doing the whole fantasy JRPG stuff. And so it's explained that the Almighty Gods appear are create they become how some is if they give up in their special if some their power have to give up when the some major desire like so I guess one of the three big desires for humans, which one was of course sex, which both Shigeru and Karna give up. And gets a Karna, she gives up sleep. I don't know if sleep's one of the three. And then so yeah, so I'm interested in seeing like so what's the third one? I'm guessing it's money. I'm guessing I'm sorry if it's money. It's probably like money has gotta be one. So and Shigeru's give up money stuff too. Or is he simply reduce how much so it's gonna be interesting. I really like these episodes, like how they're setting up Karin as a villain, how they're setting up the company. I'm looking forward to the next episodes. Hotel Inhumans episodes 9 and 10. So in these episodes, so first one you have like this elderly former assassin named Atsuhiko Suzumura who suffered from dementia. Basically, he was a previous guest, 20 years ago at the hotel. And so Ikuro and Sarah return Atsuhiko to his daughter. And then, basically it's shown that, Atsuhiko had to raise his daughter on Hazuki on his own when his wife died young. And, Hazuki suspects that Atsuhiko was a hitman. Like, and then, basically Ikuro and Sarah, they spy on you to perform risk management just in case. So basically, after all that, Ikuro believes that he is that Hazuki is not a threat to the hotel, that they don't have to kill him to cover up evidence about the hotel. But they decide to have like any evidence, have the spiders remove evidence from Atsuhiko's house to protect the hotel and to just keep an eye on him. Get some extra workload to the spiders. And then there's these two. Then we have these two guys named Danica and Chitana who kill like this wealthy couple who traffic children using like these charities like a cover for it. So and then basically they get ruined the hotel, and then basically there's some they warn Ikuro and Sarah of a terrorist group called the Asian Falcons, and Danica goes to the library like, for a little, but Chitana warns her Danica to not be reckless. Before basically there's like a final job they're trying to do. And so Ikuro and then the hotel's doctor, they look at this constellation tattoo on Danica's back. That looks like a Sagittarius. Ikuro mentions like some Chiron's history. And it's revealed Danica has been assassinated since she was a child. And so Chachana was a maid she came across during her job. Basically, Danica has some memories, she doesn't remember her name. And Chitana gave her the name Danica. And so basically, Danica was double crossed by like the group she worked for. Basically, I guess she was meant to be like a fall guy for a series of murders of like different child traffickers or like clients of traffickers. And then so Chitana helped Danica escape after she was double crossed, and they became friends and worked together. And basically, they were able to do well used after killing their various targets. And then Chitana has been kidnapped by the Falcons, and they want Danica to complete a mission in Japan that Chitana had declined earlier. And basically, Danica has to do it to free Chitana, and Danica wants to save Chitana, even though Chitana said to leave her and go. And it looks like that leads into the next week. So yeah, I like these episodes. It was interesting. Like the assassins of the week are cool, and it's so funny. This that in episode 10 you had like Chitana and Sarah's reactions, how they're very monotone, and it's just so funny. Their interaction, it's great. Like I thought it was funny. So I really like these episodes. Looking forward to the next one. Dekin no Mogura, the Earthbound Mole, episodes 9 and 10. So in these episodes, there's still we're going through the whole mystery of the island. So to reveal, basically, Mogura and his group, they're like, investigating, some of the stuff with the Samajima family, who like, there's some dark secrets with like, connected to the merfolk spirits and all that. So Yako sees Mori trying to kill himself. And it's revealed that the Samajima family, the Mori family, are in conflict due to like, basically the Samajima family destroyed the more like so there was a Mori's father, so Yako's friend, ba- basically was basically his reputation was ruined when he rejected the advances of Yui, who's one of the Samajima family's daughters. So more like basically like a rumor spread by the Samajima family basically was forcibly accepted as fact. So even though he had done nothing wrong, he was basically rumors were spread about him by the basically the head royal, in essence, the royal family, and so Mori's like been ostracized, and so then Mori's later pulled into the water by some merfolk spirits. Boggy jumps in to help, and then the Red Panda Ghost like helps them both get out, and then there's a whole and Mogura uses a magic arrow to fire at the Samajima president and all that, and he like yells at the guy, and then there's some issue like so the Samajima family is connected to the Merfolk, like it's like something about their bodies or personalities are very reminiscent of the Samajima family. So it's interesting what that sets up for future chapters, for how that for future episodes. So yeah, I really like these episodes. Like how they're saying the Samajima family as villains. The spirits are cool. And I look forward to the next episode. Spy Family, chapter 122. So in this chapter, we see Lloyd's trying to figure out how to investigate the basically that Professor Austin. Basically he doesn't want to be too specific, like when asked about the Desmond family, because like he doesn't want to tip off. And so Anya reads Lloyd's mind, talk about that, and then she reads Yor's mind about concern about the friendship scheme going better for Yor than it is for her. So she wants to do also. She mentions that she wants to study, and she wants, as she calls Author Grandpa Siggy, to help him out. So they visit, and she wants to. Anya just straight up asks. She wants more about evil organizations, and it's straight up funny. So they talk about, and basically the whole it ends up with talking about Authen's work. You know, and at least asking what his work for the government. Working for Desmond, and he's like, yeah, and honestly, yeah, where from he doesn't really remember. There's a lot of what he did. Basically says he treated helped deal with the mental issues of soldiers, made some medicines, all that, and then we see George Glibben's grandfather, who like runs a pharmaceutical company, found a pharmaceutical company, was in this picture with some of the people I guess Author knew. The former director of Lloyd's, the hospital Lloyd works at, was there, so Lloyd wants to confirm that, which that's gonna be interesting. And then and then basically it's so that Author possibly only met him Desmond once he resigned as prime minister, or seems to have some memory issues, but he's old. It could be he's old age, dementia. It could be that, or it could be something else. Especially after the end. So Anya's like, well, Grandpa Siggy doesn't seem to be a bad guy. And Twilight still he thinks that that Autumn may not be a nice a good a bad guy, but he still wants to be concerned just in case. And Anya first says she wants to leave, even though those studies happen. And then the Autumn's wife says, "Oh, we got sweets." And Anya's like, "Ooh, sweets, I'll stay." And it's so funny. And so the whole conversation. And Autumn's wife says that basically Siggy was having some issues with dementia, but it seems like talking to Anya kind of brings it back to his old self. Guess it's like having a granddaughter or something. It's almost, even though they don't have it's almost like close to having a grandfather, like grandkid, and that could I guess helps him. Which I can tell you from personal experience, having like if you have someone in the family who has like some issues, yes, having like if you have like a grandparent, when the grand when the grandkids come along, sometimes it's like a switch hits and it cuts on. I mean, that happened to my granddad, like with, you know, near the end of his life. It was like sometimes, like whenever all the grandkids would arrive, like it's like his mind was right. It was like a switch cut on at times compared to like what I heard how he could get. So yeah, I could tell it that it could actually be the switch hits on, he remember, and he like his mind's right. And it's a funny bit where Austin's wife tells Lloyd to give Yor a welcome home kiss, and then when Yor comes back home, Anya says that she's like, "Papa's gonna give you a welcome kiss," and Lloyd's like, and Yor's like blushing, and she like goes outside to goes back to the restaurant to do more drinking, and it's so funny. And and then like we see Siggy like having some at night. We see somebody as like a dark shadow over his face, and he's like having a sinking feeling. And he tells his wife he wants to do some reading before bed, and he starts trying to write stuff down before he forgets. His wife Desmond knows something, and he's wondering if Anya is subject number 7. Now we know she was subject number 007, reference to James Bond, of course. So yeah, so he was involved in the project involved that Anya was a part of, was a test subject for. Wow, that was a big freaking deal in this chapter. I was like, oh frick, are we getting close to the end? I'm like, are we getting close to the end game? So I mean, it's like, you know, look, I mean, it's like, you know, there's only so much they can do. We're probably getting close to the end game. Holy frick, this guy was involved with that project. That was big. So and Desmond might be involved. It looks like. Somewhere does Donovan Desmond know who Anya actually is? Like he could know, especially if he can read minds. He could know. Donovan can know who Anya is and who Twilight is. So yeah, I really like this chapter. I'm looking forward to the next one. Jujutsu Kaisen Modulo. So this is a spin-off of the Jujutsu Kaisen taking place like 68 years later. So basically you have like this this alien arrive, I guess to observe like some of the Earth like Jujutsu sorcerers, basically because they seem to have powers similar to like his race. And you see he works like with Tsurugi and Yuka, Akatsu, basically the grandchildren of Yuta and Maki from the original series. So uh, Yuta gave a ring he had to Yuka, but the Gojo clan wanted it to go to Tsurugi for whatever reason. Basically, Tsurugi can't use like cursed energy himself. He has to use a tool. Can't and base so they're so the three of them, you know, investigate like some people like basically there are these children being kidnapped. Once they find the kidnapper, Tsurugi's catcher, basically the guy's tired of children, and then wants to sell like Tsurugi, but then Yuka and Maru, who's the alien, arrives, and they defeat the Maru uses his powers to help defeat the the kidnapper, and so Yuka and and Tsurugi, they basically Tsurugi was told by the kidnapper about aliens arriving, and basically he and Yuka and Tsurugi asked Maru if he's an alien. So basically, I guess they didn't know. I didn't know that they didn't know, or at least it was hard. Basically, so it looks like aliens are being involved now in Jujutsu Kaisen, where that ties into like some like big lore regard like let's say maybe it's like you have some like alien astronaut thing where like you have or the alien astronaut theory where like how like the deities of different religions are were actually aliens, and that maybe that tie Jujutsu Kaisen will do that where basically like a lot of like the Jujutsu sorcerers are basically like demigods. They're part alien, part human. If that's the route they go, maybe who knows? That could be interesting to explore in in this series. But yeah, I like this chapter. I like what they're saying. Interesting to have a spin-off so soon. But yeah, I like this chapter. Looking forward to the next one.
And that's it.
Did y'all like the stuff I reviewed? And if you have your own opinions about all that, you can put all that in the comments. Thank you for watching, and like, subscribe, and all that. And look forward to the next video.